So Iman has been on my podcast before. I don't remember what number episode it was, but it was towards the beginning of the podcast, pre me being with Dear Media and everything like that. And we talked about your role at We're Not Really Strangers, just work stuff.
Yep, all the good stuff.
Relationship stuff,
yeah.
I'm sure. We actually recorded for like way too long. I remember that.
Yeah.
I had to squish that episode down because I think we were like drinking wine.
Also, people were DMing me Would You Rathers for months. I loved it. I got so many.
She's the resident Would You Rather girl. We should definitely do an episode of Would You Rathers. I totally forgot about that.
We should.
That would be
and people
so
should send
fun.
them. They did good ones.
So I'll make a new form. I have like 8,000 forms for submissions. I'll make a new form for the best Would You Rathers. We need some really fucking good ones. Okay, like we're not doing the one horse-sized duck, 1,000 duck-sized horses, whatever.
No. Whatever
that one was, things like that, or the Cheeto finger ones.
People should also use things that like they know about you to make a really good one.
Yeah,
like that'd be good.
Iman is very creative when it comes to stuff like that.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll come up with some. Well, Iman, just introduce yourself again to the audience. I didn't really tell you you're going to do this, so if you haven't prepared a short monologue.
Okay, my name's Iman. I work at We're Not Really Strangers. Me and Payton have been friends for some years now.
Like 7 years now.
Yeah, very long time.
Iman was like my first friend in LA.
Yeah.
My first friend that stayed my friend. You know?
Yeah.
Like, because I was interning whenever I met you.
Yeah,
I was still in college.
I think that's all. I'm 26 years old. It was just my birthday.
Iman is from LA.
Yes.
For her birthday, she made everyone come to a party and dress exactly like her.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious to see.
I had like a clone. I didn't say, hey, wear this outfit that I wear.
Yeah.
I was just like, everyone has to dress like me. And I literally had 1,000 clones in my exact outfits at my birthday, which is also why I want so many kids, because I also want a million of my clones like all the time. I just love being cloned. It's the best. It's so fun.
You would have been like a great twin.
Oh my God.
Like a literal clone.
I know. It's hard for me to see twins. It is.
It's emotional.
It's hard to look at.
Well, yeah, Iman and I have been friends for a long time, and yes, like I said, this is her second episode, so I'll definitely go listen back to the first episode because I feel like you had some really great nuggets of advice in the midst of our wine conversation. But today we're going to talk about your spooky, creepy stories that were submitted to my little form that I made, y'all. So I got some good ones. I chose some from kind of all different realms of spooky. I got way more submissions than I thought I would. So if I didn't read yours, I'm just going to validate it. It still was spooky. It still was scary.
It's so scary.
But some of them overlapped in like kind of topic wise. So I chose some good ones, I think.
Wait, do you know what you're going to be for Halloween, by the way? We should probably start talking about that, but I guess after we can talk about it after.
Well, I'll go through the options that Joe and I have.
Okay. Oh, you guys are doing matching?
Yeah. You're not doing matching?
I don't think we're gonna do matching. You and Joe always do matching.
Well, I love doing matching. It's easy, and it forces him to be something that's not like stupid or with like minimal effort. Because like one year with his friends, they were all like nuns together, and I was like, can you not be a
like
nun?
The funny like boy stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, we're either gonna be like disco people.
Okay, that'll be cute.
And I'm basing these off of outfits that I've been wanting to wear,
right,
or that I found online,
right,
that are like more high-end outfits.
I mean, honestly, like the way to think about your Halloween costume is like, what do I look the best in? And then like you morph your brain around like, okay, well this could like, I'm gonna look really hot. This could be a disco. So it's just kind of like,
that's what I'm doing. I think we're gonna do disco, and then we're gonna do a second costume, but I honestly forgot what it was.
What are you guys doing for Halloween?
Oh, we have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. It's just all up in the air. So we'll coordinate.
So we'll do something. So we're gonna do something.
Yeah.
Joe still needs to meet your boyfriend.
I know. That'll happen soon. I think they have friends that overlap.
Probably. If all of Joe's friends are like...
Well, we already stalked Joe on Instagram, and I made him go on his Instagram and see who Joe have in common, so we already know.
Oh, they may have friends in common. I know the exact person. The exact people.
I already know they do have friends in common, so yeah.
Okay, perfect. What are y'all gonna be? Or what are you gonna be?
I have no clue. I don't know. Me and Austin were going to be the city girls. I was going to be JT and she was going to be Carisha. But every year I just feel like me and Austin try to do like a very extravagant Halloween costume, and we both don't do anything in time.
Remember when we were going to be Bring It On?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever do Bring It On?
No, I never did it.
Should we do Bring It On?
Hey, I'm open to all ideas.
Maybe I'll do one costume with Joe if we end up doing 2 things.
No, or we're going to do Coyote Ugly. That was the one.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, these are things to consider. We'll talk after this. Okay, so spooky stories. Before I had Iman on or in mind for this episode, I had to send her a quick text and say, Iman, do you believe in ghosts? Because that was like a precursor to being on this episode, because I needed like the perfect response. And Iman sent me back the perfect response. She was like, yeah, but there's like 5 to 10% of me that like doesn't believe it, and like you're reserved for not.
It's like every story I'm like, okay, I obviously am believing you, but there's like that 5% that's like, I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
I don't believe you. That's like the perfect answer for an episode like this, because you can't be full into ghosts. But I will say I've been making some theories about ghosts that I have never shared before in my research.
I feel like people don't, or maybe people do know that you actually are like so into like aliens and ghosts and like really weird stuff. And maybe people don't know because no one will actually talk about it with you. The second you start talking about aliens and you're like, do you know? I'm like, oh my God, not the aliens again. I can't do it anymore. So maybe people don't know because no one wants to talk about it with you, but.
Well, Joe loves talking about it. But Joe's a big conspiracy guy, a conspiracy theorist, and he simultaneously believes everything and believes nothing, which is like me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's actually a great match.
It's a lovely...
After you guys found each other.
Yeah, right. He indulges me enough. But I was thinking, I do believe in ghosts. And I think that people obviously see something.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're like creepy, eerie ghosts that are haunting, or if they just like... what I think exist in a different dimension than us, so we can't even see them, and then sometimes you can see them because like the veil is
overlapping.
Yeah.
Okay. I could go either way.
Like I feel like that could be that's a theory that I have. Same with aliens.
Yeah.
Like I truly think it's very possible for like there to be beings all around us right now, and we can't tell because we're just like little humans and we're not able to perceive them. Like, you know how, like, dogs can, like, sense ghosts sometimes? They would say things like that. Like, what if they just have, like, they're existing on a higher plane than us? And we think that they're our pets, but really we're their pets?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean? Yeah.
And they are aware, and we're not. Like,
I can see that. I can definitely see that. That makes a lot of sense.
That's my theory on ghosts. So, yeah, I believe they're real, but not in, like, a creepy, eerie sense. Yeah. Though there are some creepy, eerie stories in here about ghosts. Though it's an accident, guys. I'm the ghost lawyer. They didn't actually mean to scare you.
They didn't know.
They had no idea they were being creepy. Okay. So let's just get right into these. Some are longer than others, but again, I tried to get like a good grouping together. Okay. All right. Okay, so this girl says, I have a good one. It better be good. Leading in like that. So as a child, I had an imaginary friend named Sarah up until I turned 4 when my brother was born, and they never heard about her again. I'm assuming this is her family never heard about her again. My parents had to set a place for her at the table, open doors, hold her hand across the street, etc. One time at 3 years old, I told my mom that Sarah was smoking cigarettes in my room, and my mom said, tell her Santa won't bring her any Christmas presents, and I came back and said she laughed and said, tell your mom I got them from Santa, the cigarettes. That's like really imaginative for a 3-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward 30 years to me living with my boyfriend in Baltimore. I think I'm sort of sensitive to things. I have seen my grandmother's ghost, have had 2 or 3 premonitions, I've seen mediums, etc. So I had seen a ghost next to my grandmother's vintage vanity, and I had seen her before, but this was thinner than she was, but I thought maybe it was just her in her younger prime. Both times, it's a white moving sort of light reflecting with some general features not super specific, but the first time I knew it was my grandma from her size, hair, and face shape. My boyfriend is out of town, and I download the stupid ghost tracker app for a phone, so I walk all over our 2,500 square foot apartment, flex, and the only place it says entity detected is right near the vanity where I saw the ghost. So it says, do you want to ask a question? And I wrote, what's your name? Thinking maybe it's my grandma, but also this is probably stupid. But it wrote back, Sarah. I generally don't get spooked because I'm into it all, but I was shook and I was like, who the fuck is Sarah? I deleted the app because I was home alone, but now I'm so interested to find out who Sarah is. Also worth noting, I was a twin in the womb and absorbed my twin, so it's just me. A ghost detector app?
I don't know.
First of all, also, how old was Sarah when she was 3? Was Sarah also 3 smoking cigarettes on the balcony?
Well, okay, I have 2 comments. For one, I always heard stories about like imaginary friends growing up, like people that was always in movies that like people had imaginary friends, and like I always wanted mine to come in. So like at one point I tried to force it, like pretend like I had one, but then I would always forget, blah, blah. Mine, I just thought you like got one automatically, and
Yeah.
anyways, nothing ever happened. I never got mine, but
I never
anyways.
had.
I like wanted
I
it
never
to
got
happen
mine.
to me, but it didn't happen. 2, that's pretty scary.
That's pretty creepy. I mean, I will say, Sarah is a pretty common name.
Yeah, like you could open the app, but I also think when you're more like open and receptive to those kind of things happening to you,
They do.
they do. Like I feel like I don't go about my day thinking about ghosts. Like I'm not really hyper aware of those kind of things. So I would probably be oblivious to something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you have your like little third eye open, it's like I kind of feel like you can do more,
You can almost
more
manifest
things.
them.
It's just
Well,
like you're more
looking.
aware.
You're looking for it too. Like if it's in
Yeah.
the like front of eye. It's like when you're driving down the street and you're like, I'm gonna see a red car. Like you're gonna notice the red cars.
Exactly. So, I mean, her, for example, she said she has seen medium, like people who are that into it. I feel like you're bound to also see those things.
See it, yeah. A twin in the womb though.
Yeah.
Who absorbed her other twin. Have you ever seen that Office episode where Dwight is like, do you watch The Office?
I don't think it's funny.
You wouldn't think it's funny.
I don't get it.
It's supposed to be awkward and just like weird. I mean, I know every single episode I've seen it, the whole thing like 6 times, maybe more.
I feel like I'm going to get hate for it. I just don't get it.
Well, there's a lot of people in that camp, I think.
Really? But I do think Parks and Rec is so funny. And then people
It's
don't
so
understand
similar,
how it's
yeah.
so similar. I don't know. I think it's hilarious. Best show. But The Office, I don't get it.
Maybe you don't connect with Michael.
Maybe I do have a weird thing about like if a boy is the main character of a show, for some reason I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say Mindy Kaling wrote a lot of The Office, which is, I love her.
Doesn't connect for me.
Did you ever watch Never Have I Ever on Netflix?
Yeah.
That's Mindy Kaling too.
I liked it.
I loved that show.
It was so good. I was embarrassed at first because I didn't know us as adults were all watching it. And then all my friends were like, I've seen it too. And I was like, oh, thank God. I love that show.
I binge watch every season.
It was good.
Well, anyways, in the show, Dwight said he like had a twin that he absorbed in the womb, so now he has the strength of a full grown man and a little baby. So that's what you have.
Yeah. So
one's like not funny.
it's kind of funny. It was a little funny.
It is a little funny. So yeah, Sarah. I'm interested to know who Sarah is. If you find out who Sarah is, please DM me or something.
I also thought the story was going to connect, like, oh, my mom was going to name my twin Sarah.
Well, she should ask for sure.
She should ask. That would be my follow-up
If
question.
she didn't have a name, maybe Sarah named herself. I don't know.
Right. Oof.
This one's in a little bit of a different direction. Last year on Halloween night, my friend and I had a sleepover at my house. We were watching TikToks on my bedroom floor together with the lights dimmed for like a spooky effect. My bedroom door was unusually wide open, and all of a sudden a guy in a large jacket was walking down the stairs towards my room. I thought it was my brother or dad trying to scare us since it was Halloween night, so I closed my door, but this guy opened my door and I didn't recognize him. I thought my parents knew him, so my friend and I tried to be nice and act like this was normal. Unsurprisingly, he tried to harass us and was definitely on drugs. My mom was upstairs at the time, so we didn't think he was a house intruder until my friend ran upstairs and he walked after her, and I called out to my mom. Turns out he has already harassed my other neighbors that night, and he had just walked straight into our house and went immediately to my room without anyone noticing. He had also looked through my ground level windows beforehand and watched my friend and I without us knowing because the police found his footprints in the snow later on. This was especially spooky because his jacket had a skull on the back, and this happened to be Halloween night.
That is so scary, especially because I feel like on Halloween night you're like giving the candy out so you don't lock your door.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God.
And just walked by like sight unseen by her whole family.
That freaks me out. I also have a window ground level in my room, and I'm always just like, no one's watching.
That used to scream, like really
so
freak the fuck out of me so Iman lives in an apartment that my friend Kelsey also lived in with her, and Iman took over Kelsey's room, and I used to spend the night at Kelsey's all the time, and that window used to freak me out so much.
It's really scary, especially when the window's open. I don't think anyone can go back there, but I'm always just like
Aware.
Especially if a scary movie's on, I'm always just feel like a face is gonna look back on me.
Yeah. Well, Kelsey would like sleep with that window open, and I'd be like, Kelsey Conroy.
I will
I
not.
listened to way too many murder podcasts for that information. Nothing like this has ever happened to me, but that is absolutely horrifying. You know what the creepiest part about that is the watching. Like, I always think I'd be the first to die in a horror movie because I have so much anxiety that I need to know right now if I'm gonna die or not. So it's like fight or flight. I'm like gonna fight because at least I know at that point I'm dying right now or I'm not dying right now.
I understand that.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
being watched, oh, that's my biggest fear ever.
That's the scariest part of this whole thing,
Just
is like
being,
people watching you.
What you don't know. I'd honestly might rather be dead.
That was very, very scary.
Yeah, that's a really
That was a good one.
creepy.
Look, I got anxious. Literally look at my foot.
I thought you were gonna get the chills or something. There's some creepy ones. Let me see. Next, we're going back to ghosts. We're pivoting.
Okay.
This is long. I am so sorry. But I was in New Orleans staying in an Airbnb in the French Quarter about 3.5
Oh
years
God,
ago.
New Orleans already. It's
I know.
Terrifying.
The second I saw New Orleans, I was like, okay, I'm reading it. I have to read it. Okay. I had been to New Orleans a bunch of times, and knowing all the spooky stories was fascinating to me, but never once personally experienced anything slightly weird being there before this. So a couple of friends and I checked into this beautiful classic Airbnb apartment with zero weird vibes on first glance, and no reviews stating anyone experienced anything haunted. The owner had left a bottle of champagne for us, so we opened it to pregame before going out to dinner the first night, and each had about one full glass, as there were 5 or 6 of us sharing. We all felt completely hammered.
I love the details already.
Right? I love this. I like this. Someone paints this like the picture. We all felt completely hammered after that glass, thinking it was extremely strange, but not really that concerned considering we had to unwrap and pop open the bottle, hence confirming we weren't drugged, we assumed. Later that night, coming back from a late dinner, a little tipsy but nothing over the top, I looked up at the second floor balcony that was attached to our Airbnb and saw a white woman with dark hair to about her shoulders wearing a white t-shirt and sitting at a little table on our balcony smoking a cigarette. If you've been to New Orleans, it was one of those long wire balconies that face outward onto the street that aren't very high above the first floor. I just watched her and held eye contact for the entirety of walking to the front door of the small complex's outer courtyard, and I realized I smelled zero smoke, which I thought was very odd. So I told my friends, like, hey, do we share a balcony with the neighbors? No one was worried because we honestly couldn't remember, but when we got back to the apartment, we checked the balcony to find we certainly did not share it with anybody. I told the girls about what I saw and moved on with our night. At that point, I'd be like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Okay, one of my friends went to go shower in the middle of our shower and saw one of our friends, in quotes, walk into the bathroom and look around by the sink. After she asked one of my dark-haired friends while she came into the bathroom and what she needed, kind of laughing, thinking it was weird she wasn't responding when looking through her things on the counter, my friend replied by saying she never went into the bathroom and had been eating chips in the living room the whole time with the rest of us, which was true. Moments later, the lock chain and door handle on the door started violently shaking, and we all literally thought we were about to get fucking murdered without a single doubt in our minds. The doorknob was turning and the chain was flying around like crazy, which I don't know why it makes me laugh looking back, but it was just so absurd that I can't believe it. Anyways, it stopped in about 30 seconds, and we looked to see if anyone was outside and didn't see a single soul. There was a little window by a curtain by the door. You could see through, but only shadows, and we didn't see anything during the shaking, which we realized was actually really disturbing but comforting because we realized it probably wasn't a human. We all go to sleep in a room with 2 full beds in it, smushed together because we're horrified. That night, around 4 a.m., my friend sleeping closest to the balcony hears someone on the balcony talking very angry on the phone, she assumed, and she sees a shadow pacing back and forth. She generally thought it was one of us on the phone with a boyfriend in a fight for whatever reason, so didn't think much of it, but ended up getting up to check about 5 minutes into having to listen to the mumbling to see whoever it was, just to see if whoever it was okay, and didn't see anything or anyone out there. She immediately woke us all up, and we ended up leaving the Airbnb about an hour later and said, fuck it, we're out.
I fully believe that story.
Me
Some
too.
stories I'm like, no, I don't know. I fully believe that story. And also, I hate when stories like that happen and they're like, yeah, whatever, we'll just stay here. I like how they were like, I would never go back to New Orleans again.
Well, that's how you know they're serious.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I 100% think New Orleans is haunted. I think there's a lot of darkness going on there. It's also one of my favorite cities for food and stuff.
I've never
love New
been
Orleans.
before, but my grandma's from there, and she actually moved to LA away from her family because all of her siblings were into witchcraft, into stuff like that. So she literally left her family because she was you guys are so fucking scary. I need to get away.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah,
I've
New Orleans
never
is
been there.
confirmed creepy. I do want to go because I think like in the right situation, I would be down to stay at a haunted hotel.
You're fucking crazy. You're literally crazy.
But I think if you're like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like insane. I'm like, the ghost would be my friend probably.
Okay. Well, I hope no one goes with you. I hope you literally go by yourself and you're just vlogging in the room by yourself.
I am intrigued with the New Orleans and like the haunting stuff going on there. I fell down a rabbit hole on TikTok once.
I would love to go to New Orleans. Not with you, but I would love to go. That sounds like a really fun place. But yeah, that story is crazy.
They have the best food.
I've
Shrimp
heard
and grits
that.
are like my favorite. Shrimp and grits. I order them at every meal in New Orleans. Beignets. What else? I went for Mardi Gras one year, which was
I want to go.
wild
I want to go.
and so much fun. I actually just had a hotel reach out to me about going to New Orleans. It's not haunted though.
Not haunted? Okay,
No,
fine.
damn it.
Fine, if you're going to beg me, I'm in.
Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. My boyfriend and I were out at his house in the Midwest country last summer, 2021. One night we were having a night stroll under the stars when an orb of light appeared in front of us. We were super confused, chalked it up to being a drone or street light, and continued on. That's until it began moving irrationally. His farm animals all began making a ruckus, and the orb began darting around in fast-forward motions in all directions before completely disappearing within seconds in front of our eyes. We aren't big UFO or alien believers, but there truly wasn't anything else to explain the movements and how big this orb was, being within feet from our viewing. We thought that was the end, until it happened again the next night, and again on the next night at the same time, 10 p.m., another orb of light. Being summer, we were coming back home later, and we saw the orb appear above his cornfield in front of us. This time, the orb split into three, and all three began making weird movements, darting back and forth, growing bigger and smaller, all while the farm animals went crazy and our bodies went cold with fear. We ran to get his mom to come witness what we were seeing, and when we came back, it was gone. The third and last night we saw, the orb was a bit further from us this time and did all the same actions as before, except this time we watched and tried to completely stay focused on the orb. It grew into a bigger and bigger beam of light before suddenly and altogether disappearing. We never saw those orbs again, but if you look up UFO orb sightings on Google or look up videos on YouTube, you'll see what we saw. There's also several science documentaries regarding government files on UFO sightings, and what we saw was to a T what they described as being a UFO. I don't have any crazy things happen often, and this has shaken me to my core on what we saw, why it showed itself to us, and what it was intending. I read UFOs will only make themselves visible if they feel positive and pure energy, so I'll chalk it up as I'm a bestie material for the space friends. See, that's my logic.
That actually sounds really, really cool.
That does sound really
like that
cool.
doesn't freak me out at all. I would love to see something like that.
I mean, I don't think aliens really freak me out.
No.
Like them visiting Earth doesn't freak me out.
It'd be kind of cool.
It'd be cool. I mean, I think if aliens can come to us, here we go. I think if aliens can come to us, they're smarter than us. So they're probably more peaceful, because I feel like the more civil and smart you are, the more peaceful you are. And the more like rudimentary you are and like essentially stupid, like humans are.
I agree. If they can come to... Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Because you're more scared, you know? Like they're not going to be scared of us.
I don't know. I think that's really cool. I mean, did she like try to take a photo of it? Was she too scared to because she didn't know if it was going to go away?
She didn't say. But that sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes with submissions like this and to like Ask P, I like have to read them thoroughly and be like, is this the plot of a movie? Someone's fucking with me. Because you know, I would be the dumbass to like read the entire plot of like E.T.
and then be like, oh my god,
I can't believe it.
The aliens are so real. That's actually really funny. I would love this. This one didn't freak me out. No. I think that stuff's cool. Space is cool.
I'm obsessed with space. I didn't realize how obsessed with space I was until.
Would you go to space?
Probably. If that was like likely that I would come back.
I mean, there's no way to be likely. I mean, you have a great chance. Like, I don't know, Jeff Bezos is sending you to space in like the best possible equipment there as you're going. Yeah.
I have a friend in DC who she's a lobbyist for a company that sends civilians to space. And she actually wanted to have she like passed on my dad's resume to be like, to learn everything and either be like someone who trains people or to actually go himself. And they send just like a bunch of rich people who can buy the seats to space. That's essentially what they're lobbying for.
How long do people go?
I don't know all the details. Usually when I was with her, we were drinking martinis.
I would not go to space.
Really?
Never.
I think there'd be something kind of creepy and eerie about it, but like I could tell why that's really, really, really exciting.
I just kind of feel like, what do I need to go for?
Yeah. Well, why not?
I just have no interest.
Yeah.
It's like a little too much, like, huge risk. The reward is like, I see. What do you?
Mm-hmm. Well, people say, astronauts say that there's something that happens to you when you actually look at the world like from that far removed, and you look down at Earth, and people have like reported coming back just being like, I can do whatever I want.
I can see that.
Like, I think it instills a confidence in you, maybe, or like you just a different perspective, like literally looking at it from a different perspective, but also emotionally. But then there's people that return from space and they're like, nothing is cool anymore.
Oh, like
because I did the coolest
get a thrill.
thing.
That's that.
Yeah, and they don't know how to, like, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like returning from war or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some people just are like, what am I even doing with my life?
Yeah.
Can't ever be normal again.
I don't know. I mean, it's cool, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just don't have an interest.
Yeah, in space. What's your interest? What's your like go to space level interest or dream?
But like, I don't even like leaving LA. I don't know if you know that about me. Like, I don't like really leaving my house.
Los Angeles. Well, definitely not your house.
Definitely not. Like, I don't really like going anywhere in general. It's just not really my personality.
You're such a homebody.
I love going to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's far.
Yeah.
Did I tell the people that you grew up in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from here. I just have I don't know what it is about it. I just have no interest in like seeing the world. Like, so many people have this thing of like, I want to go to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I want to spend half my life in, I don't know, Greece or Poland, wherever people want to go. I just like don't have that thing in me. It's
well,
bizarre.
I think you're also like, you are a big relationship person, not like romantic relationship. I mean like relationship with your friends and your family and all this stuff. And you're very like deep about that. So I feel like that's where you're like exploring. You know what I mean? Some people physically explore. I think that everything important to you is like in the people you're around.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, if my entire friends group went somewhere, I'd be like, fine, I have to go.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just don't feel that bug to like need to go places.
Yeah. You are also from Los Angeles and not like a small town. You know what I mean? I think that
true.
It's easier to not care to leave when you're from a town of like, how many people live here? Like 10 million people.
Yeah, but I am from like I'm from Sherman Oaks, which is like
small community.
A little more, I don't know, like.
Yeah. You have everything at your footstep or doorstep here. You can do whatever you want. There's so much to do in LA. I mean, it'd be impossible in even a lifetime to try to do everything there is to do here or explore everything here.
Yeah.
Which is why I like it.
Which is why I'm not going to space.
In conclusion, Iman's not going to space. Mm-mm. What if we're taken over and we all have to flee to space? Would you rather just die on Earth? Would you rather?
Honestly, like maybe, because once everything is like crumbling and we all have to like go to this new thing, I might just be over it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to tell. I strongly would still not want to go.
Yeah. You wouldn't like want to evacuate. You'd be like, let me just stay in my apartment.
It's just like everything would just be changing. I hate change.
Mm-hmm.
So everything would just like
I feel like everyone hates change.
Changing, and like then I would just be over it.
I'm addicted to change somehow, but it's not good. It's really an addiction. Like when things settle down and stop changing, like I get like really uncomfortable. Like I feel like I need to flee.
Like physically run away. I mean,
like I feel trapped, but that's something for me to discuss with my therapist on BetterHelp. That'd be great to put the ad there.
You actually should. Yeah. Well, you actually have lived a lot of places.
Yeah. Nothing as exciting as Los Angeles, though. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Okay, so on a girls' trip to Colorado, I was like 11. We watched The Shining before going to the Stanley Hotel the next day, the hotel it's based off of. Have you ever seen The Shining?
No.
Okay. My sister had previously made me watch The Grudge at like 7 years old, so I literally still slept with my mom at this point from terror. The Grudge used to scare the living shit out of me.
Yes,
I could never watch it. And The Ring. Oh my God.
Yeah, all those movies were really very scary.
Really scary. Okay. Anyways, we watch The Shining, go to the hotel, and my sister comes up to me freaking out saying, look at the picture she just took of the grand staircase in the hotel. Of course, I look at the staircase in the picture, and there's a little girl in the camera, but not in real life. I lost my shit, but it turns out my sister took a picture of a photo on the wall of that bitch. The Shining, it's like the two little girls in the hallway. Have you seen that photo? It's like the twins holding hands.
Yes.
Or it's Jack Nicholson like trying to like knife his way through this door like with half of his face. I'll show you the photo. Like you've probably seen the photo because it's been used in other
so
things.
many times. I love when siblings do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Also, do you ever find that like I know if I'm watching a scary movie with someone who's more scared than me, I feel a lot more brave watching the movie. Like, yes. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, it's not even scary. But if I'm the one who's more scared, everything scares me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's the trick of getting through a scary movie is you have to find someone more scared than you because then everything becomes funny. Yeah. Well, I, in a similar vein, am like that with people who are anxious. So, like, for example, I'm anxious about everything. And I always get a bad mood. I'm like, my mind's working really fast. I get overwhelmed. But if Joe is anxious about something, which is really rare, I snap into like, everything's going to be fine. Well, everything's going to be okay. Like you have to balance the other person out. Yeah. It like morphs you, which is really interesting. It is really interesting. But it's also cool, especially in relationships, because then it's not both people at the same time. Yeah. Usually he's the most calm one, I will say. But if we're actually in like something stressful, I will say I handle like stress better than he does. But he's just never really that stressed about stuff. Yeah, I was just talking about this with my boyfriend too. He was talking about how he feels like I'm more anxious like in the little things. Mm-hmm. But when it's a really big thing, I'm always just like, you're so dramatic. Like I was telling him, but it's like, I feel like the day to day is like harder for us. Mm-hmm. And then the bigger things is like, okay, let's just figure this out. Well, I think we're overthinking one, and we're always waiting for like impending doom. Yes. So when doom does come, we're like, we've been preparing for this our whole lives. I've been ready for this forever. I'm calm. No, exactly. I'm absolutely calm. That is hilarious. We used to do stuff like this to my little brother all the time because he's 12 years younger than me and 8 years younger than Riley. And we would like either freak him out or like try to convince him of something that's not real. Like I have a very visceral memory of, and he remembers this too because it was somehow traumatizing for him. We were in the car and Riley and I were just like fucking with him. He's probably 4 or 5, like talking age. Kids are probably so like 5 mean. And we were telling him that his name is Chris. And I don't know how this started, but we just were like, oh, mom and dad didn't tell you your name is Chris. And he kept being like, my name is Brooke. So we'd be like, no. And keep in mind I'm Chris. Literally 17. Okay. I'm like an adult and I'm like terrorizing him. And Riley, like, you know, when you just like work with your sibling, like we just went on whatever each other were saying. Yeah. So he's freaking out about Chris. And then we convinced him he's actually a mosquito. And we kept calling him Chris the mosquito. That one is actually, the Chris thing is like really funny, the mosquito. What was the basis of the mosquito? I think one of us just said it and the other one was like, oh my God, you don't know? And he was sobbing, crying in the back seat. And we were just like holding it together, keeping our cool. And recently, he's 17 now. He the other day was talking about something and he was like, oh, it's Chris the mosquito. And I was like, you remember that? He's like, yeah. Yeah. He thinks it's funny now, but he like literally was traumatized by this one moment. That's just like what siblings do. And when you're the youngest one, it's just kind of like, sorry. Mm-hmm. You have to take this from me. Chris the mosquito was really funny. I wish there was a third sibling. Like it was just me and my sister growing up. So I wish we had a third one so I could bounce off. Because just me doing it by myself, you don't get the laughing with someone. No. It's like you have to do it on your own. Then you know you're so funny, but no one even knows. Yeah. And you didn't have anyone to witness how funny you were and then like, talk about it later. This is so funny and no one even gets to see this. At that point, it's just kind of like mean. Yeah. For no reason. Exactly. You're not even putting on a show of any kind. No, it's just like mean, which obviously I was mean, but I was definitely mean. Yeah. Oh, poor Riley. I was mean to Riley first. Brooks was a little too young for me to be like actually it's mean like, okay, Payton, like grow up. Yeah, I literally at some point of like 17 years old. You're a mosquito. That's like the meanest thing I ever did to him. Otherwise, I'd just be like, Brooks. Yeah. He still does the thing, like, again, him being 17 years old. He is 6'2" already. He's like growing. I know, when I see the photos of him, I'm like, what? He wears Joe's size shoe. And every time I see him, he's taller. And just growing like a weed. And also like his body like right now, he's like his neck is really long. So that means he's like going to grow into his neck. So he's just getting bigger and bigger to match his long giraffe neck.
hopefully.
I wonder how big he's gonna be.
I don't know. I feel like my grandpa's like 6'5", so I feel like probably around that size, around Joe's height.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And wait, I know this has nothing to do with this, but Riley's,
she's 5'5". She's shorter than me.
but isn't she pregnant?
Yes. They're living in a tiny house right now outside of Fort Worth.
Like an actual tiny house?
Well, they keep explaining it like a tiny house, but I think it's like just a small house, not a tiny house. Because Noah, her husband, is like almost Joe's height. He's gonna be like 6'3".
Oh, wow.
And then a baby and dogs. I'm like, there's no way you're living in an actual tiny house. Maybe it's just the chic way of saying a small house.
I know they're like, we're in a tiny house. That's
We're
funny.
in a tiny house. But yeah, her pregnancy's going well. I'm going back home. I think by the time y'all are listening to this, I will have gone back home for her baby shower.
Aww.
Which is really cute. She's having a girl. Her name is Reese.
That name works like so well with your family names.
Yeah. The way they told me to was on Mother's Day. And I was just like, we were all sitting in the living room, and my grandma and my mom, we gave them flowers, and I was like turned to Riley to say, when are we going to be giving you flowers? And I turned around and Brooks was handing her flowers and saying really loudly, and then one for Riley. And I remember just like being like, that was so weird that I was literally just about to say that. And everyone's like, she's pregnant.
Wow. Well, congrats.
Thanks. I want to be an aunt. I want to be the crazy drunk aunt.
I literally
always
can't
wanted
wait.
to be.
That's going to be hilarious.
I thought that would be my claim to fame in life, is being the single crazy drunk aunt who like eat, pray, loves around the world and just.
But you're also like,
spree.
yeah, I can see you being both.
Yeah. Well, now I met Joe and now I have baby fever.
Yeah. Oh.
We can talk about that later.
Okay.
This girl says, hi, love you and your podcast. Thank you. So I've always believed in spirits and ghosts, of course, my kind of person. I live in an older apartment in DC, so I have to go down to the basement to do laundry.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
Very scary. Now, let me tell you, the basement is the creepiest place I've ever seen.
Of course it is.
I had to catch a flight early one morning and needed to pick up the rest of my laundry, so I walked down there around 5 a.m. And I thought it would be okay because people wake up at that time. I got off the elevator and heard a man's voice and felt breath by my ear. I turned around ready to defend myself, and no one was there. I started to look around in disbelief and just continued to the laundry room. You have to pay to start the machines, and I used 3. One of mine was still spinning, even though I only paid for it a day before. I thought maybe someone kindly paid for mine, but as I was getting my clothes out, the next one next to me started spinning, and then the third one did the same. The lights began to flicker, and I left my stuff and ran back to the elevator and to my apartment. Mine's definitely not the scariest story, but it was spooky, and I will never go down there alone again.
Those type of laundry rooms, like the basement, the second I heard that, I was like, there's no way.
Even the outside laundry room freaks me out. And I didn't realize until I moved to LA how rare it is to have laundry in unit, or how it's one of those things that if an apartment has that, they like flaunt it. They're like, we even have AC and like laundry in unit. Because I'm from Fort Worth mostly. Like, there is an unheard of to, 1, not have AC in Texas, and 2, to not have laundry in your home or in your unit. You know what I mean? Like, even I guess in college we had dorms, but other than that, even
how
in
was
college,
it in DC?
We had laundry in unit. I think that it's similar to here, and then like New York, they have like laundry in unit. Or you have to go to the laundromat or something. But I didn't realize how normal that was for here, obviously, until I moved here.
That sounds terrifying. I lived in a place
like that.
My ex-boyfriend lived in a place like that, and I was like, I went down there one time and I was like, what? Mm-mm. You're going down there?
No.
All the time? It was the creepiest, scariest thing ever. It's creepy just with no ghosts.
Yeah. Well, it's creepy just with other humans.
Yeah.
Like being a woman.
Especially with other humans.
Yeah. It's worse with other humans.
So then the idea of like the breathing there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
My clothes would be dirty for the rest of my life.
Would you rather encounter a scary man down there or a ghost?
Probably a ghost.
Me too.
Yeah.
Definitely me too.
Definitely a ghost.
Whenever I first moved here, also, my mom like made me go look for apartments that didn't have the outside laundry, because we always heard like crazy stories of women like just being attacked.
Yeah, I can see that.
Doing their laundry and stuff. Which also, I'm the person that like, I'm naked in my apartment all the time, and like I take stuff straight from the laundry and put it on my body. So I'm like, I like the luxury of just like not having to go anywhere and like get dressed to go to the laundry.
Yeah, you know? It's definitely a luxury that I guess you don't realize until you don't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Especially here. Okay, not really all that terrifying, but one time my mom and sister were yelling at me to come watch this video with them. They were like, oh my God, see if you can see the ghost, and they're offering money if you see it. So my 8-year-old So 8-year-old me has my nose pinned to the computer screen, and it turns out that it's a car commercial where the monster jumps out. When I say my knees gave out and I started scream crying, you would have thought someone died. My mom and sister almost peed themselves from laughing so hard.
I've done that to my sister before.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you know what the maze game is, where you play the maze game, and then when you lose my sister bawled, and I was literally bawling from laughing so hard. This is the best prank ever.
Is that worse or better than Chris the Mosquito?
That is not as good as Chris the Mosquito.
I think that might be meaner. I'd be more mad about about the ghost.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was so funny. My parents laughed.
Yeah.
I didn't get in trouble.
I feel like that's always funny. Just scaring never gets old.
Never. Me and my boyfriend do scaring wars.
Really?
Day. Yes. Oh. And then I'm like, wait, but don't do it back because I'm going to be so scared.
Yeah.
But then I just scare him. I'm like, no, seriously, don't do it back.
I can't handle it.
No.
I have anxiety. All right. This is the last one. Okay. During high school, I worked at a candy shop in the historic part of Old Town San Diego. We would have to wear dresses from the 1800s, and everything in the shop had to be historically accurate to fit the scene.
Oh, God, already scary.
I know. I used to open the shop occasionally and would always get weird vibes like I wasn't alone. That is so true. That happens to me sometimes where I like sense something around me. But not scary usually, just like something's there. But I'm not like by myself, I guess. Let's see. We actually had security cameras in the small shop, and one time they caught something somewhat shocking. Occasionally, we would miss a candy scoop when cleaning up for the night, and it would get left on the top of a candy lid jar instead of put back in the basket. Overnight, the security cameras caught some motion of one of the scoops getting dragged off of the lid and away like a child was reaching for it. Eventually, the scoop fell to the floor, and that was it. I would love for someone to explain how gravity would be the culprit here, since the way it was moving on the lid and fell was nothing like I've ever seen before. I have the video if you want me to send it. Also, next to our shop was a smoke and cigar shop, and I used to talk with one of the employees there who said he had seen a ghost child running around the back room of the shop. There's all kinds of ghost action in Old Town, so I'm not very surprised.
Please send the video if you're watching this.
Have you been to Old Town San Diego?
No, I've been to San Diego a bunch, but not Old Town.
I want to go there so bad.
Of course you do.
And just like creep around.
Yeah, I want to see the video a little bit, kind of, but it does scare me a little.
Just to troubleshoot, see if something is, if it is gravity, maybe, because it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like if I lived in a haunted place, I would have the mindset like you have, like, oh, ghosts could be not bad. Yeah, they're just like chilling.
They're just hanging out.
I would have to have that mindset.
Well, yeah, I think otherwise, I mean, obviously there are mean ghosts. But that's really only in movies. I've never heard of mean ghosts in real life. Ghosts are like getting really bad rap. They need better PR. And as their lawyer, I'd like to say they're innocent until proven guilty.
The PR move for all ghosts needs to be.
we need that for all those PR moves.
Oh, girl boss town.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. And explain to me how you convict a ghost and make sure that they're guilty. You can't. So they're all innocent in my eyes. Plus, they already had to live and die. Let's be nice. Food for thought.
Food for thought. That is a very Payton way to think about it.
That's the end of my spooky stories.
All right.
Have you thought of any of your own? Have you made any conclusions?
Here's the thing. I don't. Okay, so I'm actually a little afraid of this podcast because I'm afraid that my third eye might be open now to start seeing stuff. But I just like walk around life like every day's the best day ever, oblivious to anything like this. So I don't really think I've been noticing, but I'll keep you updated on if I'm starting to
glad you live
it
with a
now.
Roommate.
Yeah, she literally hasn't been home in like 5 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So your boyfriend's there?
Yeah.
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 I have not met Iman's boyfriend. He's new. Since I moved away.
And you know what's actually really funny is when I was on your last podcast, I had a different boyfriend and we were talking about my other ex.
Yeah.
And then now my current boyfriend listened to that. He Googled my name and listened to our old podcast and got all the tea on my exes. And he thought he was so clever and so funny.
Wait, I like him. He did his research.
He listened to the podcast and
What do you think of it?
I mean, I was like, stop talking. Like, I was just too embarrassed for him to hear, like, all the tea of the other because it wasn't stuff I was telling him. But
yeah,
it is pretty smart.
Well, that makes a good podcast if you're embarrassed with how much information you shared.
Yeah.
I realized that. I was actually watching that movie. We were watching the Netflix movie, Luckiest Girl Alive.
I just watched that last night.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it covered a lot of things that are like just like popular in media right now, things that are brought to our attention on a daily basis. I think they did a really good job of it.
Yeah, and it was also like a bunch of different topics where I felt like the movie would like just be about this one thing, and then I was like, oh, now it's this other.
There was like a complexity going on.
Yeah.
But there's something that one of her like editors said that she, like, during the movie, this girl was a writer, the main character's writer. She was saying like, you need to write to make a good piece. You need to write like no one's ever going to like read this.
Yeah.
And you can't save people. You can't like protect people and the way that they act. Like that's what's going to make a good piece. So I always think about that with podcasts, because every time I get off the mic, well, not in something like this episode, but sometimes I'll get off the mic and be like nervous.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're
scared.
nervous. So that's actually one of our rules that we live by at work too. And it's, we have like a brand Bible, and one of the things, like if you're a new hire and want to show you like how we write, one of the slides says like, write as though you can delete it and then don't share it instead. And that's just like how you're supposed to, like the truth will feel vulnerable. And if you feel nothing putting it out, then that's just not, it's not lit.
It's too safe.
Yeah, it's too safe.
It's way too safe.
So
that's
I loved
what I've
that.
been enjoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like also rope my friends in who will like speak candidly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're a good person to do that, especially with relationships a lot. My friend Josie might come on to like spill some major tea about her life, and she was like, I wouldn't consider doing it with anyone besides you, because she was like, you just spill tea with me. I was like, shit, okay.
Oh my God.
I'll sell some people out.
We still talk about her laugh in my friends group.
Oh yeah, no, that's Claudia.
Oh
yes.
wait, which one's Josie?
Josie? I don't know if you've met Josie or not.
Oh no, I haven't met her.
She's another like influencer girl. Her and Claudia and I were definitely close when I lived here.
I know who Josie is. Okay.
Yeah, and I need to have Claudia back on. She was like one of my first guests. I would love to get her like drunk enough or something to make her laugh.
She's hilarious.
That would be amazing.
She's my vote.
She's your vote. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
You can find Iman on social media. Give us your handle.
At Emon Abdullah.
And you can see her vulnerability and workings at Winners. We're Not Really Strangers. You're perfect for that job. I also need to like redo that deck with Joe, the We're Not Really Strangers deck. The like little relationship one.
Oh yeah, if you need anything also just let me know.
Okay. I need some. Okay. We're done.
Okay, bye.